Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Working Wealth Podcast. I'm Patrick Rogers. Super grateful to have a good local business owner and new friend, we'll say, Mr. Colin Medlock, joining us to talk about his background and the story of Lean Kitchen Company here in the Upstate. Colin, just to kind of kick us off, tell us a little bit about yourself, some of your personal story, and then we'll jump into Lean Kitchen from there.
Sure. Yeah, Patrick, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So Lean Kitchen, we are a healthy prepackaged meal company. It's a franchise, and we opened here in Greenville in the area in June of 2020, right smack in the middle of COVID.
Perfect.
And now we're 3 locations in, about 2 years into our third one, and excited to be opening in the Simpsonville, Fairview Road area with Gordon Lake and the CrossFit Simpsonville Fitness Company community here shortly.
Awesome. So you guys have been around now officially for a little over 5 years.
That's right.
I guess. You have middle of 2020. Very trying times to start a business in the middle of COVID.
Right.
I have a kind of similar experiences. I started full-time in our advisory business right before COVID happened.
Okay.
So I can only imagine what you guys went through. I know it was hellacious for us in some regards dealing with all that. But tell us, some of the background of,
Sure.
Before we started recording, you were talking about kind of you're from Greenville, been around the area for a long time.
Right.
What led you into wanting to get into business and then specifically like the prepackaged food business?
Sure. Yeah. So born and raised in the Greenville area. My wife too. We went to Blue Ridge Middle and High School, and I went to PC, graduated in 2011. My wife went to Clemson Marketing, graduated in 2012. And, we've been married for about 5 years. We have 3 kids, a 3.5-year-old and twin boys. That'll be 2 in November. So it's a party at our house. We have 3 kids and 3 Lean Kitchens right now. So
yeah, there you
always
go.
having a good
So you really
time.
have like 10 kids.
Feels like it some days, yeah. So got into meal prep and Lean Kitchen. Rewind the tape to 2018. I was looking for something. I was working with a buddy of mine from college doing event production and promotion, concerts, black tie events, things of that nature.
Okay.
And, our mentor, one day I was just talking with him, and he said, man, I think you'd do great if you opened a franchise. Take an existing business or infrastructure and you go execute it.
Interesting.
And that just planted the seed. And, so I started reading books and stuff like that. And, it's like, man, I've got the taste of what it would be like. I got to keep going down this path. And so talked to several different ones, a couple of sub shops that were looking to go into Spartanburg and the surrounding area that had done well in Greenville. And, through scrolling online on franchise websites, I found Lean Kitchen. And I said, well, that sounds interesting. Growing up, I used to eat toaster strudels every morning for breakfast and bagel bites when I got home from school. And I can remember specifically eating like 2 bags of M&Ms and 2 cartons of milk for lunch. The sugar train keeps rolling, dude. Right? Yeah, those were the days. And
that's growing up as like a younger millennial. That's what that is.
That's absolutely. And
that red dye from the Doritos.
All day. You could eat anything. But I can remember my dad's about to retire this year, and he's been with the same company since he was 18 in Greer. So for his whole career. And I can remember in high school, they started like a corporate wellness type initiative.
Okay.
And it was almost like an overnight change because they were incentivized by having good results, their blood work and their physicals. And so that lit a fire in him, which transitioned to, nix the toaster strudels. Now we're eating slow cook oatmeal with flaxseed and a little cinnamon in the mornings.
Oh, that's a big shift.
Brutal.
Man.
Oh my gosh, brutal. But
prison food is what you're eating now.
I'm telling you, if I got eggs and spinach, I was making those myself. And but it caught on, and it was kind of inspirational. And so we all got a membership at the gym and started exercising. And I grew up swimming and coaching swimming, so I was pretty active already.
Okay.
But just seeing the change there, it just kind of became part of my identity, I think. And fast forward to almost being 30 and having that kind of upbringing, if you will, in the health and wellness space and mindset. I saw Lean Kitchen. I was like, well, that sounds interesting. Clicked on it, submitted an info request, and it was leankitchen@yahoo.com.
No kidding.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a baby company.
Right. Yeah. Very early
Wow.
franchising days.
Okay.
Very young company.
And using Yahoo. Come on now.
Right.
Let's get on that Gmail train.
Things have come a very long way in the last 6 years.
Clearly,
without a doubt. And
Wow.
it's totally different now. But I think I was eating lunch while I was doing this. And while I'm still eating lunch, I get a call from the franchisor, Austin.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, saw you submitted a request. And, like I said, things have evolved like crazy in the last 6 years. But it was like, yeah, that's me. This is you. You're calling me. And we had a good conversation. We talked a few more times about it. And I was still like very early on in the process of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And he's, I think it got closer to like the December timeframe of 2018. He said, man, just come out here to Missouri for a few days and let's hang out. I'll let you see it and get to know each other. I was like, yeah, it's great. Booked a flight, jumped on a plane, went out there for 3 days. And I fell in love with it. I mean, I tasted the food, of course, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And got to meet the guys that were behind it. And I'm like, man, this has got to come to Greenville. Like, this aligns with who I am and who I, want to be to others around me. And I think it'd make an impact. And, through that process too, I talked to some friends of friends who were franchises of other brands. And I remember specifically talking to one guy, and he was trying to sell his. And he said, if you want to come in at 6 a.m. every morning and cut tomatoes, and this is the business for you, but I'm going to the pancake houses. I was like, okay, well, all right. And then talking to Austin, multiple times, I was like, man, I like this. I like this. And so, I went out there, met everybody, came back home. And I was like, all right, well, now I got to find the money.
Yeah.
My mentor was like, hey, man, and I don't know if this is something we want to keep in here or not, but my mentor was like, just tell all these companies when you turn 30, you're 29, you're about to be 30. Tell them when you turn 30, you get your trust fund. There's no trust fund, Patrick. He's like, tell them you get your trust fund. You're just looking for a business to invest in. And they'll talk to you.
I hope you trust me to fund this at some point in the future.
Right.
That's what that is.
Exactly. And so, but strangely enough, like it actually got me on the phone with people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And people that were taking me serious, I guess, at least to have a conversation. And so when I went out to actually meet Austin, I was like, man, I've got to find the money, but I'll find the money.
Yeah.
And so, came back home, talked to some friends, got introduced to my banker, who's a good friend now. And he's like, man, you should learn more about the 7A SBA loan process and what that looks like. And so I went down that path and had to leverage my house and everything else that, that I owned, and put down every bit of money I could find to get a equity injection in an SBA loan just to get enough money to get rolling. And everything was so new and just trying to figure things out. And found a real estate broker through a friend. Met him at the West End lobby and talked to him for a while. I was like, man, he's about our age, great guy. And he's like, yeah, let's do this. And so we looked all over for months and finally found our home spot in Taylor's, signed on. No idea what I was doing. I mean, just not a clue.
I think there's a component, not to cut your line of thought off, but there's a component of like starting a business where you have to have a bit of a glimmery ignorance. Like
Absolutely.
It's all peaches and roses and candy canes. Like it's all this like, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to make it happen. And I'm going to figure it out as we go. And it's when you get your teeth kicked in for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
That really defines where you're going to be.
Oh, you get your back-to-back teeth kickings. And, it's like, how long do I have to hold on to these monkey bars without falling off?
Yeah.
Before I can get to the end.
Right.
And, even backing up to, we sign our lease, I'm like, oh, man, I negotiated 3 months of free rent. This is great. And we didn't open for a year, just like bleeding money.
Right.
And when it came to general contractors, I went with the lowest bid because I had a very streamlined budget. And Greenville is a different market than other parts of the country. So what it costs to build here, I quickly learned, is different than it costs to build in Greenville. And so went with the lowest cost and ended up kind of turning into a project manager myself, managing subs and being at the job site every day. And, it was a lot of learning, a lot of fire hose drinking.
Yeah.
But we pushed and fast forward from starting construction in June of 19 to February of 2020, the franchise is like, all right, let's get your core crew out here. Let's go train, and you'll be ready to open in March or April. Right when you finish construction, get your CO, and you can open the doors. We go out to Missouri. We come back. It wasn't the next week is when the pandemic hit. And we started saying, oh man, what do we do? What's going to happen? Nobody knew anything. It was just, the blind leading the blind very early on. And I remember talking to corporate, and Doug was like, hey man, I think we need to push your opening back a couple weeks while this kind of gets sorted out. And then the lockdowns happen. Well, you can't get Greenville County inspectors to come do your final inspections and give you your certificate of occupancy when nobody's in the office.
Right.
I can remember our DHEC inspection being virtual.
Oh, wow.
Downloading Lumen apps on my phone to show that our brightness was adequate and things like that. Figuring it all out as we went.
Right.
And there was a 2-week period in June. I think it was 2 weeks. And McMaster relaxed a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, we're going to take it easy. Things are calming down now. And so we were able to get our CO, certificate of occupancy, and our final inspections done like during that period. And then we opened. And everybody was at home eating turkey sandwiches. So now there's a new place that's got fresh, healthy food. And, we'd started marketing a little bit ahead of time. But, opened the doors, and by the grace of God, went gangbusters.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
So going back to just the franchise search, I'm curious about this. So, because I'm going to relate this back to our business, is we've primarily grown over the years. Like Smart Pro Financial is we serve Dave Ramsey listeners that are reaching out, looking for someone to help with financial advice, investments, things like that, right? Sure. And speed to lead and persistence are always the things that ring true. So you're like online, you're eating your lunch, you submit your inquiry, 10 minutes later, guy's calling you. How many other situations did you have like that when you're reaching out to franchisors? Like, did anyone else have that kind of immediate response or persistence to get to you?
Not at all. I mean, it was exchanging a couple of emails, filling out the online forms where you may or may not fudge a couple of numbers of liquid cash or capital and things of that nature, and just to get them on the phone.
Yeah.
I think I was the third person to sign on, third or fourth, very early with Lean Kitchen, and now there's dozens of people and locations in the works. So no, it was very rapid, and I think that in a lot of ways it was like, man, they're really interested in talking to people. And when I went out there and we rode around together for a few days, it's like there's people I've said no to, there's people I've pursued, and like this already just feels like a good personal connection. Even if you don't franchise, I think we should be friends.
Yeah.
And fast forward down, we're great friends. We can have the business and the personal separate, and I'm thankful that I got that call.
I can imagine he's thankful too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think
sitting there eating lunch and put that in.
With this upcoming location over there at Gordon's shop, we're going to be, I think, 10 Lean Kitchens across the South Carolina state.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there's more coming.
That's great.
So we were the first, and thankfully there's been many others that have followed.
Yeah. So talk more about the portfolio that you guys have. So you have the 3 shops now, open up the 4th one here, hopefully by the end of September or October.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
That's the plan. I think each one we get a little bit better at buttoning it up at the end, for sure.
Okay.
But we opened the first one, as we talked about, in June of 2020. And, that store, as we shared with you before we started talking here, is within 3 weeks we ran out of space. And thankfully there was a space next to us that was unoccupied. And it had been like a STEM after-school learning center, which during COVID doesn't have a need. And so she was able to pass her lease on to me, and my landlord said, hey, it's yours. We'll tie it to your current lease, cut a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And that's literally what we did, was we cut a hole in the wall, and we took it over, and it gave us the opportunity to continue to keep up and reactively grow. And had my landlord over in Greenville, David Stone, great guy. He approached us, was like, hey, I think this would do great, in Greenville as well. And we looked over there to begin with and just couldn't find a spot that was right for us. And it's like, man, it feels really early. Like, we've been open 8 weeks when this conversation first happened.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, but, we've got momentum. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Now my advice to others is like, hit your ceiling, figure out a scale, and then go to the next one.
Yeah. Be strategic.
Right. Yeah, actually, exactly. And, we're just, at that point, me, my wife, my brother, his wife, it's kind of a family endeavor at this point and back then. And I can remember nights going home at 3 a.m., lay down for, 30, 45 minutes, take a cold shower to wake up and be back at 3 a.m. Or 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Go to bed at 3, get up at 6 a couple nights a week just to get there and get chicken in the ovens, and get out the door as soon as you can at night and get back the next day as early as you can. And it kept going and going. But for some reason, it was like, this is a great opportunity. I feel like we have to go to Greenville. So fast forward 7 months to the day we opened on Augusta Road in Greenville, February 15th of 2021.
Okay. So I can imagine like the contracting process, the build out, all that was getting smoother.
It was so much smoother the second time around, just from opening the location, getting to meet people and talk to people and like customers who are also contractors, and just, this guy knows this guy or this gal knows this girl, and say, oh man, okay, these are people I think I can trust without knowing them. Yeah. Let's do it a little bit different round two. And thankfully it was super smooth. Had a lot of good support. And, so opened that one in February of 21. Chugged along. I mean, that store's been very, very good to us. So Greenville's a great community, and we've been able to get involved in a lot of different things from an outreach perspective. And so those two stores are doing great. Ironically enough, we looked over off the Fairview Road area, probably middle of 2023, and had a spot. I mean, we were working through a lease, and it didn't feel right. And so we passed on it. And it wasn't a few weeks later I ran into Gordon on a Sunday in the shop. And ironically enough, like we had our daughter in January of 2022. So shortly after we opened the Greenville store, we found out we were pregnant. Yeah. Had our little girl in January of 2022. And so I didn't spend a lot of Sundays in the store after that. I was in dad mode. But I happened to be there one Sunday when Gordon and Annie came in. And he kind of pulled me to the side. He's like, hey, low key. And Gordon and I had gotten to know each other through Fittest and sponsoring Fittest. And had become, friends, but didn't know each other that great, after a couple of years. And he said, hey, man, I'm thinking about opening up or doing something with my current gym, either build or, take over a spot. And I want it to be more of a health center. I'd love for you to be involved in it if you want to have that conversation when the time comes. This is October of 2023. Oh, yeah. And I remember I left Greenville, drove to Taylor's to take back some cooler bags, some ice packs. And I texted him when I got parked, and I was like, man, yes, keep me posted. Just that 15-minute drive, I was like, man, what I know about Gordon, I want to be in that area. This other one didn't work out for a reason. Like, let's just see where this conversation goes. And then you jump to May 24, and Gordon's like, hey, it's happening. Yeah, we're doing it. Let's have a meeting. Right. And, we actually, so I'll back up a little bit. We did open our Five Forks location. So when we passed on the original Fairview Road spot, we said, all right, well, let's look on the other side of Simpsonville, the Scuffletown Road area, that side of Woodruff Road. And we found a spot on Batesville that was great. And we got in there and opened in July of 2023, actually. Okay. And so fast forward to July of this year, we've been open there 2 years. Yeah. But yeah, in between those, just waiting on Gordon and listening and praying. And, he approached me back in May of last year and said, hey, we're going to do it. Let's talk. Got together with him and Annie, and I've gotten to know Bill as well. Bill's awesome. Yeah. And so, yeah, now fast forward to October of 2025 and location 4. Yeah. Coming on, Simpsonville Fitness Company.
I love it. I'll be honest, selfishly, we're so excited because we live in Powderhorn right across the interstate from there. Nice. So, like, going to the gym, like literally walking from our house to where the new gym is about a 1.5 mile walk. Man. And to get to go and do that, I mean, we might even take our golf cart up there. I don't know.
Right on. So no, the spot's fantastic.
It's a great location. Yeah. It's, refreshed building, looks beautiful.
It's sharp, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. So anyone who's listening that hasn't heard about this, Simpsonville Fitness Company opening this fall within the next month or two.
I want to say grand opening October 4th. Okay. I believe is in the works right now.
Perfect. Okay.
I don't know if I'm supposed to announce that.
Yeah.
But
well, I think this episode might launch like beginning of October or middle of October. So that's perfect. That's awesome. Great. So, but yeah, so big things are coming to Simpsonville, right? Yeah. Like massive changes. And I think that's kind of indicative of just the growth of this area in general, right? Is we have even our church, we go to Fellowship Greenville. Okay. Main campus is right down the road from here near Pelham and 14, and they just bought and renovated the old YMCA.
I remember reading about that, 14. Right? Yeah.
And everybody said, "Oh, it's crazy. Like it's 6 miles from your other campus. Why are you doing that?" But the leadership of our church, they broke down everything for us around the numbers of just population growth and people growth, like all that stuff in this area. And I feel like every location you guys are. Sure. You're kind of right in front of where that's happening. So like Five Forks 2 years ago was right before everything. I mean, it's always been busy, but like it's just exploded into Woodruff. Right. And now you had Augusta Road, that like Western Greenville area before that. Now you're looking at the south side of Simpsonville, Fountain Inn,
Right.
top of Gray Court, Pelzer, like all that. You're placing right there. So I have to ask the obvious question of what's the future look like?
Well, yeah, it is crazy. And like a small, funny little story, like when we originally started looking for our home base, and we looked over in the Augusta Road area, I just could not afford it. I mean, my SBA loan was to build 2 stores. I ended up having to sell my house to fund the second store and get it open. I mean, just $50,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
So for your Dave Ramsey approach, probably not ideal path to go is how much debt can you accumulate.
Sometimes you got to do what
to
you
follow
gotta
your
do.
dream, right?
Yeah.
Which thankfully that's long behind us now, and we're very, very fortunate there. But I mean, we did everything we had to do to get the doors open. But for that first one, couldn't afford it, within the city limits of Greenville. And my broker buddy called me and was like, hey man, why don't we go a little bit out of Greenville? Let's look in Taylor's. And we found the spot in Taylor's, which is Eastgate Village Shopping Center over near the Eastside High School and Crunch Fitness. And it was affordable. It was in our budget. And I remember I signed the lease, and it wasn't like 2 weeks later, they tore down the McDonald's around the corner. I was like, oh no, like if McDonald's can't make it, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And my buddy of mine had just, he was working at and then took over the dental office. It's across from the Harris Teeter now. Okay. And we had become buddies through a mutual friend. And he was like, man, this place needs a renaissance of commercial and shopping. And fast forward 6 years, now there's a Harris Teeter, there's a Starbucks, they're building a Chipotle in our shopping center, Crunch has come in. Yeah. And so we've been very, very fortunate. And then, like you said, Greenville, that whole area is growing, and Five Forks same, and now all these neighborhoods popping up and rooftops everywhere off of Fairview and Harrison Bridge in the area, and down to Fountain Inn, like you said. My vision for Lean Kitchen, could we get away with 1 or 2? Absolutely. But the business is convenience. It's prepared meals. It's convenient. So like no matter whether you're on the way home from work, like we see people downtown at the Augusta Road store during the week, and ironically we'll see them in Five Forks on the weekend because a lot of them live down there. Yeah. And they're like, man, it's so nice that whether I'm at home or at work, I can just stop in and get a meal or grab meals for the whole family on the way home. And so that's kind of like our strategy almost is let's go where it's going to be convenient for people. So that, you're not, oh, should I go here? Should I go there? Oh, there's a Lean Kitchen. I already know what's on the menu. Yeah. I have the app. I can go get points. I can get my meals. I don't have to drive 20 minutes away for convenient food, right? Yeah. So that's kind of and there's I'd love to go to a couple of other areas in the Greenville County area that hopefully we'll get this next one done right and then look to the future. But I think there's definitely space for a couple more Lean Kitchens in Greenville County.
And how does it work in terms of a franchise agreement? Do you have like a radius you cover, or is it a county by county? What does that look like?
Yeah, great question. It is. There's a radius. Okay. I mean, the corporate folks at Lean Kitchen, I mean, they're practical, right? Like if I'm doing great in Greenville, why would you put somebody right next to me? Right. So we have another operator that has Anderson and Spartanburg, and she's great. So we collaborate when we can, and if folks are in that area, they know they can go to a Lean Kitchen and they know what they're walking into. But as far as Greenville County goes, that's our footprint. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So a lot of growth over the past few years. The business at its core is, I would say, just as a fairly loyal customer, is it's consistent convenience. And to me, that's one of the biggest things about any business being able to be successful is you have to be consistent.
Sure.
Like provide a great product, ideally great. Sometimes you can get away with good, but have a great product that you consistently execute and make it to where people can access it conveniently on their terms, the way they need to. And I can say that for us personally, especially, we've got a little over 2-year-old and a 7-week-old right now. That has been a game changer for just this new phase of life. You mentioned as well about your kids, right? You got 3 under 5 right now. Yep. Which, by the way, bravo to your wife.
She's the trooper. She's the hero.
I mean,
3 and 22 months. I mean, just
twins
rock
after
star.
the first one. I can't imagine. So
yeah, shout out Jen.
Yeah, way to go, Jen. You got it, girl. But just thinking about that, for a business to be successful, it's always good product, it's good process, all those things, good people, that drives profit, that drives opportunities, allows you to expand and play more into strategy.
Sure.
For us, that has been so great as a consumer that we can go literally from church straight to the Five Forks location.
Yeah.
pick up some meals at 11, and then go home and go about our week.
Right.
I'm curious, like, is there anything about the business itself that you've seen has been, this might be the wrong way to say it, but like kind of a smoking gun? Like what is the thing that really sets you guys apart from other services people might do?
Yeah.
Like the online to door or other places.
Right.
Like what really makes you guys who you are?
Sure. Well, thank you for your business.
Of
Appreciate
course.
you.
Thank you for the product. To me, that's the key.
You know, yeah. So like to your point, there's no shortage of mail order meal prep companies. And typically it's frozen. You know, we're making everything from scratch every week. Our kitchen runs 6, sometimes 7 days a week. It's made fresh. It's made local. I mean, you're getting it from the container, and it was made in our kitchen, 5 miles away. If you're in Five Forks, or 6 miles away, or if you're in Taylor's, you can literally see into the kitchen from the pass-through door. It's made by local people who live in this area, who care about this area. For us, I mean, truly, I think it's been the culture. I mean, we were so fortunate that when we opened, I can remember the day we opened, had 2 people come in who had heard about us. And they're like, "Hey, I want a job." One, she was in PTA,
cool.
she was in PTA school, and another was a bodybuilder. And it was like, man, this sounds great. This is like aligned with my passions.
Yeah.
And so we've just kind of continued that trend. And I think, the biggest testament to, a testament to how fortunate we are is like our customers have become our team members over the years. And then we've got some rock stars from like Chick-fil-A and Starbucks who have come in and just made night and day difference in our kitchen because they understand processes, they care about quality, and they can keep up. We run a tight ship.
Yeah.
My brother is my business partner, so he went to Clemson. He's an engineer, was in the automotive area, out of school, and saw what we were getting into very early. We lived together when I first got going, and so he would help nights and weekends. His wife was a nurse through COVID, and then coming out of COVID, she just needed a break from that, and so she was like, I'd like to help out as well. And so fast forward now, they're both full time. They both work in the kitchen. They have a great team in the kitchen. And we've been able to just grow the culture with the mission, with the scale, with the locations, bring in the right people, retain the right talent. I mean, I like to talk about our customer testimonies, right? And there's no shortage of those. And very like when people come in and say, "I'm tired of seeing I'm morbidly obese on my chart when I go for my physical."
Yeah.
Like, well, they took a huge step to come through the door to begin with.
Right.
So we want the people on our team and the culture of there's never any judgment. If anyone comes through our door, we're going to listen, we're going to be sincere, and we're going to help that person get on the right track. We're going to help where we can and meet them where they are. So we'll have folks like that. But then we also have the testimonials from inside of Link Kitchen. My general manager, Connor, he'll have been with us for 5 years in a few months. And he was one of my early influencers, like ambassadors for the brand. And when I was getting ready to open the second store, I hit him up on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, do you know anybody? I'm looking for a manager." And he had just read Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Okay. Yeah.
And his mom had given it to him. And he sent me a DM back. He was like, "Man, what if it's me?"
Yeah.
And we got together. And he's like, "Man, this is a green light." So he was bartending at the time and training in the mornings. He was like, I'd like to train in the mornings and then actually impact people in a positive way during the day versus making them drinks at night. And so he took a leap of faith right when we opened the second store and came on. And so internal testimonial, he's now an Ironman. He does all types of endurance, high rocks activities. I mean, he's an athlete. And he's kind of been on a personal journey and fitness journey since he came on board with us. We have other folks on the team who, their blood work's better than it's ever been. We're surrounding ourselves with people in the business that care about health. We're going to hold each other accountable. We're just always going to push to drive the mission forward. And then I think our customers see that. And as a result, they become part of our team. And I think that's what's kind of set us apart from anyone else is we can contain the consistent quality. And we're all focused on the same mission because we all care and we want to push each other in the right direction.
I love that.
Yeah.
The culture piece is, I think that's what really makes, like, to me, that's kind of that smoking gun. So I'm glad you went there.
I think, coming out of college, I was in the corporate world for like almost 10 years.
Okay.
And sometimes I think about like, you want to work your way up the ladder, or just get the job done. Like you really have to check your emotions at the door, I think, a lot in like a corporate or office environment Whereas like on the entrepreneurial side, and you're like driving a team in a small business, like emotion is everything.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be able to feel that intent behind what the leader wants and what the leader's doing, and leading by example. And it's not just come in and let's do our job and it's cookie cutter, so it's kind of the opposite in a lot of ways. And I think that's been helpful for us. Like, sure, if there's something personal, we all have personal. I'm tired. I was up, changing diapers last night or what have you. You can leave the tired at the door, but you still got to bring the intensity, the emotion, and the focus.
Yeah.
I think everyone on our team does that, and it's been a big part of our success.
Yeah, and especially the way you described it's like inside the team, that's going to fuel into everything that impacts your end customer.
Right.
Like if somebody comes in, and this might sound kind of dumb, but like, okay, you cooked 800 pounds of chicken a day, and every piece of chicken was cooked properly, right? Nothing's undercooked, nothing's overcooked, right? The right amount of sauce is done. Like the details that are important for making sure that even for someone who's very diligent about tracking macros.
Sure.
Like if it says it's got 22 grams of fat in it, by golly, it's got 22 grams versus 32 because somebody went heavy-handed.
Exactly.
Right? Like there's an impact that happens there if you buy into the culture and you buy into the process, you buy into the bigger mission and the vision of where you're going and how you're having a bigger impact on everybody else.
Absolutely.
You touch. The guest I had in before you came in is a good friend of ours and really a mentor in our business at Smart Pro. And we were talking through just where our company is today. And he asked me, well, do you know how many families we have across the company? I was like, I don't know. I know how many like I work with directly. He said 40,000.
Wow.
I said, daggum, Derek. So average families, 3-4 people, you're talking about 120 to 150,000 people that our group of 100 advisors impacts, right?
Yeah.
And the way that you approach the diligence of giving good advice and leading from the front to always learn more, to grow more, to understand more, to communicate better, that matters. Even down to a simple $100 contribution into a Roth IRA, making sure that's executed properly and traded properly. Like, to me, those are those things that it's like process and culture go hand in hand in a way, and that leads to the desired result.
Absolutely.
And the bigger impact, the bigger influence in what you're trying to do.
For sure. I mean, you'll come in our kitchen and you'll see a lot of food scales, because we want it to be right. We want it to be accurate. It's not just how many meals can we make. It's how many meals can we make the right way.
Yeah.
And, there's been plenty of times over the years where I or someone else walks through the kitchen and we just spot check here and there, trust but verify. Everybody makes mistakes, and you pick up a container and you're like, this is 2 cups of rice. Like, you get going and someone doubles up 2 cups of rice, and it's like, whoa, this heavy one.
Yeah.
And so, you have to make that meal again.
Yeah.
And it's not, hey, we're still going to put a lid on that, a sticker, and let's get it out the door. You don't want to have any waste, but like we want it to be right, to your point. Because my wife and I, we eat green container meals at night because we got all 3 kids down, hopefully by 8 o'clock. And it's like the last thing we're going to do is fire up the kitchen again.
Yep.
So we're scarfing down lean kitchen, but we want it to be right. If we're tracking our macros, and, we're both on like a wellness journey coming out of having 3 kids in 2 years and trying to get our health aligned with what we want it to be. Like, we want to know the macros are right and there's integrity behind it.
Right.
And so that's super important to us. One of our big things is like, if you're, say, working the counter and someone comes in, like, you should always treat that person like you would want a member of your family to be treated, because sure, they may already be on a health and wellness journey. They know what they're looking for. They know how many macros have, X number of calories and stuff like that. But some people are scared to death to walk through the door, so like if that was your family member, how would you want them treated? And how do you want that person to talk about their experience with their friends and family when they walk out? So it's just being intentional in the kitchen and with every person that walks through the door.
Yeah, from A to Z, that first impression to the last bite.
Absolutely.
Right. That'd be a good little post right there.
There you go. That's right.
First impression to the last bite.
I've trademarked that.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So I'm curious for you guys as well. You mentioned some faith elements in the story.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of like our story with our business. Like, we're not here because of us. Sometimes I'm like, what? Like, we shouldn't be here in spite of us.
That's right.
Kind of thing, like, how has faith and trust in the bigger picture, like what God has for you guys, like how has that impacted your story and your journey over time?
I mean, I couldn't couldn't picture life any other way. With, my wife and I grew up together. We were great friends, dated for a little while in high school and then stayed great friends after. And then we didn't see or talk to each other for years. And then while I was kind of on this journey to find Lean Kitchen, I ran into Jen. And it was like, God's pushing me in this direction where he knows I can make the most impact. And wow, here's the love of my life who's randomly comes back into my life at the right time. It's like everything is God's timing, and just believe in the process and believe in what's happening and go with it. And I mean, that's what we did. And it was a lot of sleepless nights to get the doors open and to get the business going. But, we never wavered in our faith. And, we opened in June of 2020. We got engaged in September of 2020. We got married in November of 2020, across the street from her parents' house.
Oh, that's fantastic.
With
I love that.
10, 15 people.
Yeah.
It's like we were ready to start our life together.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to wait on COVID. It was like, all right, we'll have a reception, we'll throw a party for all of our friends sometime in the future.
Yeah.
But
green boxes for everybody.
yeah, all the way. Just green light after green light, and just trust and keeping the faith. And fast forward now, and 3 stores, 3 kids, a 4th store on the way. And you just got to believe. Yeah.
So as you're thinking about other entrepreneurs, tuning into this, customers tuning into this, we're going to try to share the heck out of this, right?
Oh, thank you.
Get you guys some more business. The thing that I always come away with from these conversations is you never know what's going to speak to somebody. And I've had people reach out, or say things, pass in the hall at church or in the gym, they're like, oh, I saw this podcast or saw this clip and here's this thing, this stood out. I'm curious, as you're thinking about not knowing what kind of impact even our time together today has, what's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned just for you personally? And it doesn't have to impact anybody else, but just for you personally, your family, Jen, your brother, your sister-in-law, what's the thing that you think has been the most transformative impact on you guys personally?
It's a loaded question, my friend.
Very. 2 scoops of rice.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a heavy meal. It's probably hard to put your finger on any one thing. There's 2 things I kind of thought of on the way today, just in messages that I at least wanted to share in case it did impact somebody. One was there's a little saying. It's all right, number 1, what do you want? Number 2, what is true?
Ooh.
Number 3, what do you have to do in light of number 2 to achieve number 1? And so we want a company that's full of people who care, who are intentional, who are all striving towards the same mission, who can make great money and support their family and impact their community. Okay, well, how do we grow? I mean, we have 32 employees right now, or team members, and we're hiring for the new location. I mean, there's so much. You might walk in the store and see one person, but you have no idea, how big the team is. So how can we continue to grow that and provide for all of our people, provide for my family and Jen. We have 3 kids now, so we have to buy diapers, a lot of diapers.
Yeah.
And, so we know what we want to achieve. So now what do we have to do in light of where we are to get to where we want to go? And so we're always striving towards that. And then something else that I heard recently, I think it was Mark Manson, maybe, the Subtle Art of Not Giving Something is his book.
Yeah.
But I think he's got some good one-liners. And one of them was everything is a different flavor of pain. So why not choose the pain that gives you the best set of life decisions? And everything's going to be hard on some level.
Yeah.
So I want the hard that we've chosen because I wake up knowing that I'm making people's lives better every day.
Right.
My in-laws lost, I think after we first opened, mother and father-in-law, they had newly retired and they started eating Lean Kitchen. Jen really pushed them to eat Lean Kitchen. I think they all both lost 20 pounds in the summer that we opened.
Wow.
And it's that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's
right?
that life change.
Yeah. And so it whatever cliche it may be, I go to bed at night knowing that we're doing a good thing, and I wake up the next day knowing we get to do it again. And so I think if anybody can kind of pursue their passion and know that they're going to impact other people in a positive light, then go for it. Yeah.
And how would, just to take that and turn it a little bit, the converse of that is people that pursue a passion, but their real passion is just money and wealth.
Sure.
And it's just the pursuit of more and 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 more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen that in my experience, if you lose sight of the bigger picture of the people and the ultimate impact and influence you can have, if you lose sight of that, you might have income increase and like the wealth and the more increase in the short term, but then it tapers off.
Right.
Like if like culture dies, your perspective dies, like you lose sight of everything and ultimately you end up in a worse spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious like what your thoughts are about that, because you guys are so impact and people focused. To me, it exudes through everything you're saying and everything you guys do is like, hey, we're about just helping our community. But I'm curious like what your thoughts are about that.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the question of when is enough enough? And when is enough, even, to put it in our shoe, like when is enough lean kitchen enough lean kitchen? When is it too big to feel small? And, I don't necessarily think there's a one size fits all answer for it. I mean, I was worried a couple years ago. I was like, oh, we have 20 employees. Like, how are we going to maintain the culture? And it's, it's team outings. We have today, even at 3:00, an all storefront team call. So we can all get on, meet new people, talk about wins, talk about challenges. And even though we can't all be together at the same time, we can all talk and just kind of spitball, build culture, be aligned on our vision, our mission. I try every time I can to stop in the stores. Every single week, I'm in there, every store, at least once or twice. Check in with people. How are you? How's your family? What's going on? Thankfully, we have folks who've, they graduated school or they have a full-time job and they do this on the side, but they still stay with us because they feel, I think they feel like they're part of something that helps push them forward, that helps to impact their lives in a positive way. And is there a magic answer for how do you keep it feeling like that? I don't think so. I just think you have to have the best of intentions and do your best.
Yeah. And when things change, be willing to address it.
That's right. It's lonely at the top. So like, give me feedback. If my team doesn't see me enough, they tell me like, hey, you need to come in and be around, and you bet your butt I do it. Yeah. It's through having 3 kids in 2 years, like it definitely became a dance, of how can I be there and be here at the same time. Yeah. Thankfully, like we talked about, Jen, you're a superstar. Yeah. Right. I'm still able to get out and I've got a home office where I can get some things done in the evenings and the early mornings. But, it's like people want to see me in a lot of cases. And knowing that I'm there, knowing that I'm still listening and they can talk to me, they can call me. I think that goes a long way. I hope it does.
No, I believe it does. I really do. And you're exactly right. It's lonely at the top, right? Yeah. And it's one of those things where I think that a lot of times people look at it from the outside and they, maybe with the wrong set of glasses on, they look at maybe a perception of success or achievement or whatever else. But the reality is we could just be having this conversation, sit in a coffee shop, and we could talk about some really hard stuff. Right. Some really dark stuff. Sure. Like the hard times and how you can be tried and tested and really put through the ringer. And I know you have those. I don't know you personally enough. No shortage. I know you've got those stories, right? Any business owner does. And I think it's just, again, a testament to who you guys are and how you operate. That despite all that stuff, leading from the front with faith, focused on culture and people and impact, like that's going to drive that end result, which is ultimately bigger than what we could ever imagine. Absolutely. Yeah. Very well said. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I mean, and to your point too, right place, right time during COVID, but no one knows the 12 months before that of just being there every day, cleaning up, trying to get the doors open, all of what that looked like, and then you open and are we cutting the blue wire or the red wire this week and hoping it doesn't blow up in our face, but by the grace of God, we've cut the right wire long enough to figure out what we're doing. Yeah. And now, it's a smooth running machine. Yeah. But, no one sees behind the scenes and, but they're not supposed to, right? Like, we want them to feel confident in who they're supporting in the product, but, it's not always easy. And we're all just doing our best. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love when people say, it's like the 25-year overnight success kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Right? That's exactly right. And there's a recent thing actually from Ramsey's Entre Leadership series. They had John Maxwell on this past May, and he had a big comment that was like, nobody wants to do the did.
Mm.
Everybody wants what you do or what you have. They don't want to do the did.
Yeah.
Like what you had to go through, what you
That's right.
experienced. And I think that's, again, just kind of along those same lines, what we're talking about here.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Patrick.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming out. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely have to talk more again about, business and as things grow, and, maybe down the road you guys are at 10 lean kitchens, right?
I hope so.
Not presuming, but maybe we go there, right? But really excited to have you on. If anybody has not tried out Lean Kitchen and you're in the area, or maybe across the country, if you're tuning in, find a Lean Kitchen in your area.
Absolutely.
And try out the product, try out the culture and see what it's like. And we're opening here in Simpsonville in the next 6 or 8 weeks from today.
That's right.
So,
from today, next 4 or 5 weeks. And you can find us at leankitchencogvl.com or on Instagram, Lean Kitchen Co. GVL. And stop in. We're in Taylor's. We're on Augusta Road in Greenville, Batesville Road in Five Forks, and soon to be the Simpsonville Fitness Company. Yeah. And we're excited.
Right off of Grandview.
That's right. You got it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here.
For sure.
Make sure to like and share our episode. And if you have any comments, give us some positive feedback and some 5-star ratings. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated.